Hey there, members of the graveyard, and welcome to our 7th video in our Monster Hunter Wilds Weapon Guide series, where we will be discussing the full scale and scope of the Sword and Shield. We are 8 days out from launch of Monster Hunter Wilds, so for the next 8 days, I'll be releasing a weapon guide every day, giving you a full weapon breakdown, discussing the general game plan, and tips for every weapon. This will be accompanied by a hunt against the Doshaguma with commentary about my thought process on how to use the weapon to its fullest, but as a beginner. Quick disclaimer, all the footage you are about to see is from the beta. So if you found this video after the official release, worry not. That means everything in this video is still applicable. I'll be keeping an eye on any major changes happening to the weapons, and if there are big changes after the release, I'll be re-releasing these weapon guides for any weapon that received significant changes. If there's any small changes, I'll probably just leave them as a pinned comment. Now, one final thing that I can't stress enough, and I mean it, I can't stress this enough, this video is not for finding out what the meta is or what the best and most optimal, strongest thing to do with the weapon is. This is a video that covers and explores everything that has to do with the weapon's functionality and how to use them and how to come up with your own conclusions about the weapon to make your own play styles. Now, with that all out of the way, with the logistics handled, so I don't get sued. Oh my God, my script. No, you can't read that. That's private. Everyone, erase that from your memory. You never saw that script. So I think that now the most important part learning a weapon in Monster Hunter is taking the time to sort of process and read all the things that are available in the in-game guide that are about the weapon. Because while it might be fun to just kind of slap on a new weapon and jump straight into hunting, by doing that, you may miss out on something that the weapon can do that might actually be a big part of the weapon's capabilities. And guess what? I've done this plenty of times because I've thought that I knew everything about certain Monster Hunter games, and then lo and behold, I see a video or a guide or just happen to see another hunter doing something that I've never known the weapon can do, and then I go, well, what the heck? I thought I knew everything about the weapon. So we need to take time to learn the full limits of our weapon and what it can do. Now, the Sword and Shield, jack of all trades. We've got access to different types of damage. We've got blunt damage. We've got slashing damage. We have amazing capabilities to get mounts. And we have, with the introduction of perfect blocking, we have very strong defensive options. And the normal block it's passable. I wouldn't say it's as strong as the lance or the gun lances, but our block can serve as a very strong defensive tool, as well as we have a good roll. I think it's a tad better than just the standard roll when our weapon is not out. Or maybe it's the same, which would make it good because most weapons can't roll as well as the unsheathed roll when they have their weapon out, making our drawn roll with our weapon out very good. So we're going to discuss first our perfect block and our options that we can do with it. So we're going to set up our dear Wagon Chan, my lovely assistant. And we're going to turn off wounds for now. So now that Wagon Chan is on, I will take a moment to recommend that if you haven't had a chance to play around with this option, I highly recommend it. It's under the second tab under the controls section, and it is the toggle mode for focus mode. Now, I was skeptical about using this, but seeing how beneficial it is to use focus mode, as it gives us great control over the direction that our hunter is facing so that we can be more precise with our attacks, I figured that we want it up more often than not, and not needing to hold the button down for the entire hunt is very good. So test that out and see if you like it better than holding it yourself. Now, I will say that if we have, for the sword and shield, this is a sword and shield issue, we have to be careful. Actually, it doesn't seem to work that way that I thought it does. So you can typically put your weapon away with X, but the sword and shield can use items while its weapon is drawn. So I thought that would be an issue because of focus mode, but it doesn't look to be the case. You can tap X, put the weapon away, or you can turn the focus mode off and sheath with the right bumper. Now make sure that if you want to sheath using the right bumper, that you toggle off your focus mode. Otherwise, you will do your focus strike, aka the wound popper. That's what I like to call them. And that can lead to some complications, because some of them lead to being stuck in some pretty long animations. If the sword and shield doesn't seem to have that issue, but some weapons can put you in pretty precarious situations if you don't actually pop a wound. So make sure you toggle it off before trying to sheath your weapon with right bumper. But the safest way would just be to use X, because that seems to also sheath our weapon. Now, let's get back into, now that we've covered the focus mode a little bit, let's go ahead and get to our perfect block. Now, our perfect block, we have a lot of options that we can do out of the perfect block. We can do a backstep. We can, sorry, gonna have to get a lot of perfect blocks here. We can do the counter slash, which is the thing that I recommend doing the most. We can then do that's for a quick opening. If we get a big opening, we can do a charged chop by Y and B. We can also do a roundhouse and then a charged chop. We can then do a shield attack, which is just holding forward and doing our shield attack combo. So, as you can see, we have a lot of options after we perform a perfect block. And as you can see, if we normal block an attack that has a decent amount of pushback, we lose all of our options because, as I said earlier, the guard is not as potent as the big shields that the lance and the gun lance have. So we need to be making sure that if we want our offensive options available to us after our block, we need to make sure that we are getting the perfect block. Now, with that being said, we do have a tricky defensive option, but it can cause for a better offense if we're able to pull it off more. So we have this backstep, and we do have some invulnerability frames during the start of this backstep. As you can see, the timing is pretty tight, but if we're just a little earlier, don't try to be too tight with your timings in this game. Because as you can see, when we try to be really tight, we end up getting hit. So that covers the perfect block and all of our options out of block. And then we have this, we can also, we can roll out of the way. Now, the benefit of doing this backstep is that we avoid the attack and we can jump back in and continue our offense. We get that all off before, the next swing comes down. So that is the benefit of doing the back step to avoid things. It's a more riskier option, but it can have some pretty big payoff, especially if you use it to dodge an attack that has a long recovery from the monster that you wouldn't be able to punish if you had just blocked it because of the pushback. So something to consider. I consider that to be a pretty advanced thing. It requires a lot of knowledge of the monster's attacks and how fast they come out and how big they are. So yeah, don't feel too bad if you're not able to pull this off on your first couple of hunts. So now that we've discussed our defensive options, let's go ahead and get into our combos. Now we'll start with the Y button, kind of cover everything that we can do with it. We have a stationary 4-hit chop attack. So it goes chop, chop, side slash, diagonal. I guess it's a 5-hit. So 1, 2, 3, 4. No, yeah, it is 4. So it goes chop, side slash, diagonal rising, diagonal chop, and that's the end of the combo. Now we can continue this combo even further. After the 4th chop, we hit roundhouse, and that roundhouse does good damage. We can access our roundhouse. Our roundhouse actually will do more damage the more hits we get into our combo. So we typically want to be doing it after the end of our combos. See that 55, and then if we do 1, we get a 32. And if we do 2, we still get a 32. So it looks like we always get a 32 unless it's after the 4th hit. But the roundhouse is still very good for just a little quick burst of damage. As you can see, it does 32. Meanwhile, our slashes deal 14, 18. So if we don't have enough time to do 3 slashes, we can still do roughly the same amount of damage as doing 3 slashes. The roundhouse is a very good way to end your combos early for some guaranteed good damage. Keep that in mind. We can do this roundhouse after any hit of any of our multi-hit combos. So now that we've discussed the Y combo a little bit, let's talk about how to use it on the move, because this is actually one of the coolest things they have added to the game, is being able to reposition while you are moving with your Y combo. Now this is best done with focus mode up. As you can see, we have access to it, but we cannot strafe and turn nearly as strongly than when we have the focus mode activated. So for example, we can start the chain on the leg. We could be moving to the left, finish our last hit on the head, and then go for our powerful finisher moves that get stronger the deeper into the combo we are. So as an example again, 1, 2, 3, 4, we end up on the head. Thank you, Wagon Chan, for reminding me to turn you off. So we'll start from here, and then we'll actually get out of the way of the attack, and then after it is whiff, we can then hit from the side. So there's actually a lot of applications to use. Remember, after any of these slashes, we can just do a roundhouse. Say we see a cheeky window. We can't make all 3 slashes. Get a roundhouse in. Now, when we follow up for the Y button, has to be the 4th hit. So 1, 2, 3, 4, roundhouse, and then we get this charged chop. And as you can see, there's a little flare up on the sword. That's how you'll know you've used it after the right amount of hits. We can do this kind of whenever, but as you can see, it does less damage, and the little flare up on the sword doesn't happen. So we'll just stand still so we can see that properly. Roundhouse, charge chop. Now you don't need to do the roundhouse. We can just go 1, 2, 3, 4, charge chop. And that is now, that's the Sword and Shield's access to damage, and good damage, without having to go into, if you've played the previous games, typically the perfect rush combo is what your main source of damage is. But now we have 2 ways to sort of get good damage out. But we'll get to that perfect rush combo in a bit. We're going to now go over our B combos. The B combos have 2 purposes. Now, if we hold forward, we initiate a shield attack. Now, the shield attack does bludgeoning damage, which builds up knockout value on the monster, which means we can knock it out. After we build up enough knockout value, you hear that kind of like special hit effect, that like little twinkle noise. After we get enough knockout value, you knock out a monster. So the shield and sword has access to both slashing damage and bludgeoning damage. I typically like to go for at least 1 knockout when I'm doing my hunts with the sword and shield. But if we don't hold a forward direction, we get a very stationary, strong combo. This is good damage, each slash doing 22 and ending with 30. As you can see, if we have quick openings where we can stand still, it's better to do the B combo, as it's a little stronger and a little faster than the Y combo. The Y combo, the purpose that it serves, I feel like, is the power of it lies in its repositioning. So if we have our opening, but we started in the wrong spot, we don't have to do no damage as we run to, let's say this is the head, monster gets knocked down while we're right here. We don't have to do absolutely nothing while we run to the head. We can be active about our damage. The B combo does not have access to that. So our B combo is for when the monster has presented an opportunity that does not require us to reposition. Now, let's take note that the B combo only has 3 hits. So not only does it gain, and because of this, we have ended the combo. Now our powered up holding Y and B, the charge top, it gains its powered up version from only 3 hits because it's the end of the combo. So we get faster access to this charge chop by doing the B combo. And that is, hopefully those explanations gives you an idea of the usages between the two and when to use them and when to not use them. Now, let's go over... I missed something. Silly me. I missed the slide attack. Now, we do the slide attack by doing right trigger and Y at the same time. Now, this slash does a good amount of damage. As you can see, it does 47. And after this slash, of course, we can follow it up with the roundhouse. Not a strong roundhouse, just a normal one. But this is good damage, especially for repositioning. And thanks to focus mode, excuse me, we can turn pretty sharply and angle ourselves to get a hit on a good hit spot. And then we can go straight into a stationary Y. We can keep moving. We can actually get a lot of distance covered. 3, 4, and then go for a slide. We can cover a very long length of distance while dealing damage the entire time we are repositioning. And that, I think, is one of the Sword and Shield's greatest strengths, is that you are now very mobile with your damage, and it's good damage, because as you can see, 1, 2, 3... Let's wait for the combo counter to reset here. It wants to. Okay, we're still in the combo. All right, now it's gone away. So as we can see, 1, 2, 3, 47. That's 3 hits of a Y combo. 47. 47 damage from that slide attack. So do not sleep on the slide attack. It is very good for repositioning and just damage, as we can see. Because again, 1, 2, 3. The B combo, a little stronger, getting a little more damage. So 1, 2, 3. 74 on that. So still not bad even when compared to our stronger B combo. Now, don't forget the... I mentioned it a little bit before, but I wanted to just make sure that it is understood very clearly. You can use your items while you have your weapon out. You can drink and heal and use rations and life powders and all sorts of things with your weapon drawn. So we don't need to be putting our weapon away if we get in a sticky situation and we need to do a heal. So please remember that, because it is one of the strengths of this weapon. Now, our perfect rush. And we're going to cover everything that comes from our back hop to kind of close us out here. So this back hop has a few things that we can do out of it. As we can see, when we are holding it, we get this little flare up, right? And that lets us know that we've held it long enough to go forward. We did 34 on the first hit. Thank you, Wagon Chan. And if we hold it, even if we hold it for too long, there's no perfect timing on this release. We just have to hold it for a certain amount to release and then go flying up. Now, after we have flown up in the air, We can do a jumping slash. This is just for quick mount damage. That is sort of a... When you hit monsters with jumping attacks, and this is considered a jumping attack, you build up this sort of invisible meter on the monster that once it reaches a maximum threshold, you initiate a mount where you ride the monster around and stab it. I will show an example of this during the hunt commentary. So this is how we get in the air. We have 3 options. We actually have 4 options that we can do from this. So we saw the basic Y. We have a plunging thrust. This is good for building up. I believe that this counts as jumping attack damage because I have mounted a monster while I have done this. And it's very good for big monsters too, because as you can see, you travel all the way down it and keep stabbing. We then have a falling bash, which does very good concentrated damage on a singular spot. And it also does knockout value. So when you knock out a monster with this, it feels good. Trust me. And then we have the ability to do our wound popper in the middle of the air to get those hard to reach wounds that are on bigger monsters. Now, I will showcase this. Thank you, Wagon Chan, for your participation. We're going to turn you off now and turn on your wounds. We're going to make you nice and vulnerable. So, our wound popper, the focus strike, we have 2 options while we're on there as well. We can either hit Y or B. Now, I recommend using the upswing bash when we are on the head of a monster, when the wound is on the head of the monster, and everywhere else, we want to use the falling slash, because the falling slash, you plunge through the monster as you drag your sword down, and it pops all the other wounds. I haven't seen any cases of the upward bash popping multiple wounds. Maybe it does if they're close enough together, but that falling slash from sticking your sword into the monster using your focus strike, not the bash, misinput. Oh, actually, that's actually something good to know. So after the upward bash, we can do all of the options as if we did our charged slash move. So that is good to know. So we do the upward bash, and then we can immediately do the falling bash. So if there's not multiple wounds to pop nearby the wound you have attached yourself to, it could be better. It could be better to use the upward bash and then follow it up with the falling, with the falling bash. Could be. Well, for now, we just have a lot of options to play around with, so we're just going to try them all. And then eventually down the road, I'm sure people will figure it out, what is good for what situations and what is not. But we don't really know. So we're just going to do whatever we feel like is the right decision when we're in the moment. And that's how you should treat learning new weapons. Now that we've covered all the things that we can do after this little back up, hold charge, and then slash, we must note that we can let it go early if we don't want to commit to it. Or we can just, I think we have to, yeah, there's no rolling out of it. You must let it go, but you can let it go early. If you see that you've done it at the wrong time, you can let it go early for this quick little slash, which then, after that, you can roll out of or block. Now for the perfect rush combo, and this will kind of close us out on the weapon. The perfect rush combo is you do your back step and you hit Y. Now, I'm going to go through it once and explain kind of what happened. So, after we initiate it with Y, make sure you cannot release the B button. You have to hold the B button and then hit Y. You can kind of get the timing close together, but the second you let go of B, you will do the charge slash. So you have to be holding B, and then you have to hit Y without letting go of B to initiate the perfect rush. So every time we see this flash of red, we hit Y again. Let's go through it one more time. So we initiate it, flash, hit Y, flash, hit Y, flash, hit Y. We'll stab into the monster if you hit Y again, and then we can do all of our charged slash options when we're flying up in the air. We can do all, it's the same, we are put into the same state, and we have all the same options while we are up there. Now, you have another option, and this is our more damaging option, I believe. For that final stab, we can initiate the charged chop. And that's if we don't, and this is what we do when we have our biggest opening. We go through all of this, we tap for the roundhouse, and then we do the charge chop. Now that, in my opinion, after testing out that weapon, is our big damage. That's what I have come up with. And I think that that is the combo that I will be going for when we have big opportunities on the monster. Now, it could be that there's some loop with doing the stationary combo or what have you and never actually doing a perfect rush that ends up being more damage, but I'm not going to worry about that. I've theorized my own game plan based on what I've found, and I'm going to go see how it plays out for me. So that is it for the weapon breakdown section. If you just wanted the weapon breakdown, I thank you for your time. But if you want to stick around for the full hunt with the commentary, that would be greatly appreciated. And for those of you who are sticking around for that, let's get into it. The trenches of a one-take monster hunt. It's dirty, it's grisly, it never goes the way that I want it to. We die a couple of times in our in some of our previous videos, but that's kind of what I like about doing a one-take hunt. It showcases that we can't always have these flawless speed runs that go exactly the way we want it to because we've done hundreds of the same run. And I think for the purpose of making a guide for beginners, we want to allow people to see how we handle mistakes when the weapon isn't going perfectly. I feel like that's very important when learning, to see a very natural and organic experience of the. So, Doshaguma, our favorite punching bag of the beta. We're going to remember to eat as well. Don't want our food buff running out mid-hunt. We do a lot of yapping in that training room, and time goes by quickly. So we will eat. I do that every video, I think, where I hit the A button just way too quickly. I swear it's not intended. I feel like I'm stuck in a time loop or something. Hop on our secret. Let him take us on a magical carpet ride. And here we can see the Fellowship of Brothers. An unshakable bond that they have forged through trials and tribulations, but apparently not poop, because that shatters the Fellowship. Instantly shattered. The ring will never make it to where it needs to go. And I will be chasing Frodo to the ends of the earth and hunting him. So we're going to follow this Doshaguma. Looks like he's headed for the sands. No worm in sight. Oh, there he is. So we've got the desert variant of this hunt. He either goes to the left or the right, in my experience. We will just kind of be chilling out, watching this hunt unfold. I'm just going to throw my ghillie suit on and be a silent spectator of this peaceful moment of nature. We can see the Doshaguma trying to struggle its way out of the hole. And it doesn't seem to be enjoying its time, but impressively enough, with a feat of strength, it's able to wrench itself from the depths of the sand trap. What will the Doshaguma do next? Will it fight the Bar-la-har-la-lar-la-lar? That's its actual name. You can look it up. It's in the monster guide. And it must be said exactly that way. Bahar la-lar, la-lar, la-lar. Feel free to add extra lar-la-lars at your disclosure. So it doesn't seem to know what's going on. I can't initiate a stealth attack on it just quite yet, which means it's not done moving. Even if we started fighting it now, it looks like it would still be pathing, but I think it's broken. So we're just going to go ahead and get things started. Try to block the scream successfully. Going to take this ghillie off. Slash, slash. There we go. We just had to give it some motivation. It finds its way through the dunes. Now, the dunes is a very scary place to hunt this thing. A lot of its attacks are like hidden in the sand. This area is not so bad for fighting it, actually, so I don't mind fighting it here. Let's pop open our focus mode. Give it a slash. Get our first jumping attack here, or a charge slash rather. This will initiate a mount. Gonna cover this thing in wounds because we can actually pop all of these wounds with the sword and shield with our charged slash, sending us very high in the air. So we hop around, we stab it in the head, hop off of the areas that it's trying to wiggle us away from with the left stick, hit the right bumper to initiate this. Now, for this first down, I won't be doing a perfect rush. What I will be doing is trying to build up some stun here with the B combo. And do take note that if the initial stab of our charged chop hits the monster, no matter where the next parts go, they will all, the multi-hit will connect. So be paying attention to that. I'm gonna try to get up, not close enough. I'm gonna try to get these wounds on the back, which means we need to land a good charged attack. Stab with the right bumper. We're gonna falling slash. We have made it angry. Understandably so. Didn't block the little bite. We're going to initiate the power clash with the perfect block. We're going to do the follow-up chop. We can do a roundhouse after a... Sorry, 1 second. So yeah, we can do a roundhouse after our power clash, which then we can follow up with the charged chop. One, two, do the falling bash. Block that. 1, 2, 3. Go out of the way. Do some movement slashes here. Missed. Not going to worry about being perfect with the spots that we were hitting. Getting pretty good at that. Falling bash. Blocking that big charge attack. Going for some stationary damage here, as he just wants to sit still. And that's kind of... I think I showed a good example of the game plan. The game plan is just try to be proactive. Don't try to like look for only hitting the sweet spot. Try to just be attacking at all times. I did get a little obsessed with the wounds, only because they are good damage. I'm trying to get in the habit of using them more. See if we can land this. Nope, he stopped to yell at the frog, so I only hit Mr. Frog. I'm sorry, Mr. Frog. We get another mount because this weapon, apparently, does crazy mount damage. Not going to go ahead and get all the wounds. Just going to go for the head here. And we are still trying to build up some knockout. But let's go ahead and just get nice charge chop off. See if we can get a cheeky perfect rush here. As he continues on. We got a couple of hits in, so worth it. Gonna make sure we sharpen our weapon as we chase after him, as we're almost out of the green. Now, we're gonna try to make a lot of these rocks fall on him. I forget about them a lot while I'm here. So I'm gonna run this way. Or is he not stopping here? He doesn't seem to want to stop here. That is upsetting. He usually stops here and we drop a bunch of rocks on him. Oh, I see. Trying to join back up with the boys. Well, not on my watch. So we're going to have to equip our large dung pot again. But I want to see if I can get this rock hit on him. He usually stops right beneath it. He's just going. I've never seen him do this. He's never continued to run this much. Well, unfortunately, we will have to pod again. Once he recovers from the flash, he'll take off. Hopefully he doesn't go to the same area as the other one. Doing lots of biting. Feel like he is gonna run off. And please don't go to where the other one went. He's gonna go back this way. So he's gonna insult us for missing our boulder. There's our shame pile right there. That's a pile of shame for us. Drink a potion. Didn't mean to put my weapon away. Make use of our movement attacks. Not overcommitting. Damn. Whereas a little too shallow on that. Use our sliding attack. Ooh, did not recover from that soon enough. Looks like our cat's going to heal us here. And immediately we're going to take a little bite. Try to get a knockout now that looks like he's entered his I'm tired mode. So a knockout would be pretty good here. Doesn't look like that hit me at all, which is very surprising. Right, there's the knockout. So let's go ahead and go for a perfect rush. We're gonna do the damage version here. Follow it up. Nice. See how that is like a perfect window? We're gonna go here for a falling bash. Very good. Blocking that. Do our slide attack for reposition into the jump back. Another falling bash. Goes wide, but that's okay. His tail got blown off by a bolt of lightning. I don't think I've ever seen that. Missed our perfect block there, but that's okay. Got the falling bash last time. Have a window here because he's flinching. Ooh, we almost got the charge chop off. That was unfortunate. He's gonna go into his big enrage. It's a very loud yell. Oh, I don't like this. Yep. That move is tricky to avoid. I still haven't quite figured out how to avoid it. I think the best option is to just put your weapon away and to do a panic dive, but as we learn, we have experiments. I'm gonna try to get a falling slash here, as I popped a lot of wounds. As you can see, that falling slash, that falling attack out of getting the wound does pop a lot of wounds. Initiating another power clash. This is done again by getting your perfect guards. Gonna go ahead and do a charge chop here. See if I can't flinch him again here on his way. Oh, he wants to go into the rock cave. So hopefully we can get some good boulder hits here. I'm going to go ahead and throw on my ghillie so that we don't upset him in any way. Hopefully there isn't another monster in here, because that sometimes bugs him out. Gonna go ahead and get the sneak attack. And then hopefully drop the rocks. If I don't flub with the controllers, we drop the rocks on ourselves and him. Beautiful. Classic Monster Hunter fashion. This gives us a big opening. We didn't have time for the round slash, at least that's what I deduced. Ooh. This is the big series of attacks. I'm gonna try to come over here. Get him to come under this. He's gonna look at my cat because of course he is. I forgot to set up how to call my cat over. Maybe he'll just come over here. Come on. I know you can do it. Yes, you can. Yep, do all of your little I'm tired animations. That should be good. And another boulder for me as well. Gotta love it. Perfect rush. Going for the chop finish. And it looks like he's gonna be a little tired. After that, a little sleepy. As he tries to limp to freedom. Let's take a moment here to think if there's anything that we haven't been doing. We've done the slide attack. We got our knockout with the shield bashes. I think the only thing that I haven't really been using as much as I would like to, just because it's really unfamiliar to me, are those mobile slashes. I think I could be doing a lot more damage if I was a little more proactive with it. I'm gonna go straight for that wound. If the game would let me. That was the fastest turnaround I've ever seen. Go for another perfect. Actually, let's go in the wound here, just because it does more damage. We're gonna roll out of it to stab it and get the plunge attack to pop all the wounds. Right? He has a little retaliation attack when he is enraged or near. He actually retaliates after you pop the wounds when he is near low health. Okay, that was a good use of the moving attack. We went on the third one, unfortunately. Get this wound right here. Let's do the bash this time. Flash. Perfect block. Finish with the roundhouse. Go in with the slide. Perfect rush. 2, 3, 4. Roundhouse. Chop. Full combo completed. Some more cheeky damage here. Not quite gonna connect with the perfect rush there, but that's fine. Yeah, that was really good. I was actually happy with that sequence. It's good to celebrate your high performances. Now I know my facial expressions and my energy might seem a little even, but that is because I am locked in. I'm trying to do the best that I can so that I can give a good performance of what this weapon can be capable of. Is this the highest level of sword and shield play that you'll ever see in the history of Monster Hunter Wilds? Absolutely not. But is it a good starting point? I think so. I think this is a good starting point. If you're doing the things that I'm doing and remembering to do them all in your first hunt with this weapon, you've got nothing to worry about for the entire duration of this game. All right. We're going to place some bombs next to this thing's head. This is very honorable. Remember? And we planted a trap next to him so that when he wakes up from this, he will go straight into that. So I'm just going to go ahead and move over here, block the screen, keep facing me, head straight in here. Thank you. 1, 2, 3. Roundhouse. Chop. Then a 1, 2, 3 chop. He gives us a little backhand to remind us who the boss is. Slide attack to close the gap. 1, 2, 3. Plunging blade. 2, 3, 4. Roundhouse. Plunging blade again. We made a wound. He hit us with the merry-go-round attack, but I'm going to go for the stab. Nice. Good finish with the wound pop. That's what we like to see. Nice hunt. Nice hunt indeed. I'm very happy with that. And believe me, some of my earlier videos, the hunt did not go well. So I definitely want to celebrate a little bit on that one. Well, let's get into my closing notes here. It's not a script, and you didn't see anything. Don't have a script. So let's kind of take a moment to fully just kind of run back through that hunt, run back through everything that we've done, lock it in. Good. So I hope you all enjoyed this demonstration of the weapon. And with the things that you have learned in this video, I hope you can now begin to draw your own thoughts and conclusions on the weapon. And I hope that you will take the time to not worry about what's the most meta thing, what do I have to be doing right immediately on my first try, on my first few hunts. I have to be doing this very specific. We don't need all of that. The game's just around the corner, and we do not get a new Monster Hunter game every other week, so take your time with it and go at your own pace. There's no rush to being super efficient. There's no rush to having the best build, the fastest way to kill this monster. We don't need all of that. Is it important to develop this information eventually? Sure. It's good to have efficient and optimized builds and ways to operate a weapon so that we can be as efficient with our time playing this game, because not all of us have all the time in the world. But in the beginning, take a deep breath and just have fun with it. Worry about all that optimization and meta stuff later. I know it's unavoidable. It will happen. And I am a fan of it. In fact, I am a fan of making builds that are optimal and figuring out the best combos and the best loops. So if I missed anything in this video, or you have some tips of your own about the sword and shield, leave a comment down in the comments. Leave a comment down in the comments. Yes, that's where they belong. And if you got anything from this video, if you learned, if you laughed, if you cried, if you miss Wagon Chan, then drop me a like. Now, I'm going to mention this on a few videos, but we are live on Twitch. And I think previously in other videos, I said we were going to be live on YouTube as well, but that doesn't seem to be going to be able to work out, as my computer can't handle the multi-streaming. But when eventually I do get a better one, we will do multi-streaming. So that's all for now. And as always, I hope you have a great day, or are getting ready to, or you already had a great day. And I will catch you on the next one.